Filmed live in Canada, it's Jim's Record Party. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Jim's Record Party. I'm your host, James. Just a little less than a month left in summer now, as we go back to 1963 with the Beach Boys. Little Deuce Coupe, produced by Brian Wilson. Be True to Your School, 409, oh man. A Young Man Is Gone, Our Car Club. This is really an album written on the asphalt. The Beach Boys, if you remember riding around with your dad and mom in the Oldsmobile with your sister sitting beside you in the back seat, yeah, you remember the tunes on this album playing over the AM radio. The Beach Boys, Little Deuce Coupe, one of the great test car themed albums ever. This is probably it right here. Little Deuce Coupe. We're picking them up and setting them down here today on Jim's Record Party. Let's pick up Booker T and the MGs, Soul Limbo. It's 1968, I believe. Hanging out underneath the pier with a beautiful woman. Steve Cropper, Al Jackson Jr., the great bass player Duck Dunn, the man himself, Booker T, great keyboard player. What a great instrumental group this was. Disbanded by 1972, went their own ways. Duck Dunn showed up, and Steve Cropper, of course, showed up in a lot of other musical situations. Steve Cropper as a producer also, as well as a guitar player. Duck Dunn as a bass player everywhere. Here at Soul Limbo, one of the very, very few groups of any kind, instrumental or otherwise, to have the cojones to play Jimi Hendrix's Foxy Lady. And no more fittingly than on this album. Soul Limbo with Booker T and the MGs. Let's set that down and pick up our pivot album today. Could hardly be more of one of my personal favorites. I Think We're Alone Now. Tommy James and the Shondells. I love this cover. This is art at its absolute finest. In my mind, absolutely the kernel of an idea absolutely presented here as purely and simply, as quickly as possible. Just brilliant. I Think We're Alone Now, produced Richie Cordell, Bo Gentry. Let me triple check this. Yes, that's correct. Of course, these men went on, even with Bo's poor choice in haberdashery, in his hat especially, is just ironic, and that theme has continued, and I do not understand it. But produce music they did. Here's an early example. I Think We're Alone Now, a Gentry Cordell conception, ladies and gentlemen. They not only produced it, they concepted it. Even so, the music is absolutely sparkling. If you went to a dance in your high school at any time during the mid-60s to early 70s, this would have been very characteristic of the music you saw and the kind of band that you saw, often dressed, of course, as a theme. Many famous English bands we could name did as well, with their suits and their haircuts. And here's another one, Tommy James and the Shondells. I Think We're Alone Now. Mirage. Gone, Gone, Gone. Run, Run, Baby, Run to Me. This, yeah, what a fantastic. You'll probably be dancing when you put this on. Open the windows up, put the top down. I Think We're Alone Now, Tommy James and the Shondells. We move from light-hearted fun and enjoyment and pleasure to an album of more introspection, realization. Johnny Rivers. Why is this man's visage, head and shoulders not on Mount Rushmore? Johnny Rivers, one of America's greatest singer-songwriters ever and performers ever. Johnny Rivers, I salute you. His greatest album, Realization. What a beautiful album this is, and one of the few men, if Booker T and the MGs covered Hendrix's Foxy Lady, Johnny Rivers nearly, or perhaps he does, one up them with a cover of Positively 4th Street by Robert Dylan, and he acquits himself well. I love this album. Summer Rain, especially when this album came out and that tune was on the radio, I was even more of a fan than I already had been. Johnny Rivers, Realization, a great summer album here on Jim's Record Party. Takes us to our final selection today. Did you anticipate it? It's Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. This is a concerto grosso that certainly was not known as The Four Seasons during Vivaldi's lifetime, and he certainly had never titled it so. But much as with Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, it captured the public imagination, and before long, the four movements of this suite had acquired names, and they were the names of the seasons. And here's another beautiful album cover, this on Deutsche Grammophon. Again, this is art at its best, conveying the idea, the complex idea of the changing of the four seasons, here done so sweetly, so artistically. This is a fantastic album by the Berlin Philharmonic, Herbert von Karajan. Michael Schwabel is the solo violinist, fantastic violinist. And of course, we're talking about the second movement here is Summer. If you're not putting on the individual movements of the Four Seasons by Antonio Vivaldi during the seasons as you experience them in your homeland, what are you doing? What a beautiful way to celebrate the seasons. Each movement so absolutely perfectly characterizes the season, especially here in North America, where we, for instance, most of the country does experience four distinct seasons. So it's very appreciative. Summer, absolutely. What a dynamic piece. Your mind is caught in the whirlwind of this piece of music. Seek out a copy of Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons and play it. Play it in its entirety. Play it often. Play each movement as the seasons progress. Play that movement many times during that season, once a week or twice a week or every day. What a great summertime album this is. What a great summertime piece of music. This is the second movement, Summer, from Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. That brings us to the end of another side of Jim's Record Party. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us as we've looked at 5 albums to close out our look at summer 2024. Albums you can play anytime to reminisce, to bring back that feeling of summer. One of my absolute favorite seasons. I look forward to it. We all wish it would be twice as long. Here's to summer 2024. From all of us here on Jim's Record Party, please join us again next week on this same station at this same time. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And join us as we look at more great albums here on Jim's Record Party.